Now on to our weekly feature, Citizen Planet. And when the Ministry of Education announced the reopening of schools in May, more than 60 schools had either been submerged or had their infrastructure destroyed by the floods.
The ministry then gave a directive of a merger of schools as a temporary measure to accommodate learners whose classrooms were destroyed by floods. However, more than 3 months later, pupils are grappling with overcrowded classrooms, poor sanitation, and an overall state of destitution, with the government seemingly forgetting about their fate. And with the recent tragic events reviving the talk of safety in schools, Laura Otieno visited one of the overcrowded schools and now reports on the dampened ambitions of children sidelined by the government.
Nakumbuka tu maji nyingi na sikujua vizuri litoka wapi. So I thought kwanza it was the end of the world. Na tuka run kwa church kwanza. Tukakuta kwa watu wako hapo. So nikaanza kujiuliza nini inaweza kuwa mbaya.
The rain distracted everything in the house, so tulikuwa tunajaribu kutoa vitu ili tuweke pale poa, lakini it was impossible because it was also raining that time. Also, then we were trying to settle.
The United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, estimates that about 12 million children in Kenya live with the reality of climate and disaster risks. Despite the alarming number, the tender voices are yet to get an audience from government agencies. This is a story of the drowning ambitions of children in the flood-prone Nyando constituency in Kisumu that has borne the brunt of the devastating effects of the rising water levels in Lake Victoria. It has been 30 years since we left 8 a.m. at the Nduru Comprehensive Primary School in Kisumu. Crammed up in this classroom are grade 8 pupils undertaking an English lesson. Having lost nearly 1 month of school due to the constant moving, pupils here are making hay while the sun shines, meshed by their thirst for education.
I wanted to be a doctor, and I've been working so hard to achieve it. Even I've been setting some goals to help me achieve it, even in the community. Sometimes I even help those sick people
When the skies opened in April this year, what many had hoped would be a season of bountiful harvests turned out to be a catastrophe that claimed 267 lives and displaced more than 200,000 people. Property worth hundreds of millions was swept away in what was described as one of the most severe cases of flooding in 5 years. John, not his real name, is a grade 8 pupil from Odienya Primary School. He shares this classroom with 76 other pupils who come to school to seek a safe haven. For the few hours they spent together, they shared the yoke of missing the familiar warmth of their homes. John and hundreds of other learners of Odienya Primary School were sent here at the end of May, following an announcement by Kenya's Ministry of Education to merge schools that had been affected by floods. In a report by the Elimu Bora Group, a total of 62 primary schools had become inhabitable due to the raging floods. Despite the attempt to ensure all learners resume classes, the failure by government to set up structures to support John and thousands of other pupils who are affected by floods is a sharp pebble deflating the hope for an equitable chance at education.
Kwa class tuko congested, tuseme kata mtu mmoja akiwa na homa. Within 1 week kila mtu ako na hadi walimu. Tukuja kwa issue books shortage juu floods ili affect. So nakuta hata msee ako na vitabu 2 na tuko na subjects nyingi. Anafinyilia tu vitu hapo. Na mwalimu pia atamchapa tu. Na ikifika kwa issue vile sasa tuko hapa wengi, then someone inaweza ku encourage pia bullying because wenyeji wanatuona kasi tunawasumbua.
Section 64 of the Basic Education Regulations of 2015 prescribe that a standard classroom in a primary school should hold a maximum of 50 learners in a room measuring no less than 7 meters by 8 meters. Additionally, day schools should provide at least 5 liters of water per child. However, the merger announced by the Ministry of Education has put Nduru Comprehensive School in a tight spot as the amenities cannot support the population of 1,380 pupils.
In a day, we send 4 to 6 children to hospital. Others with stomach problem, coughs and flu, some diarrhea. We are not doctors, we are not nurses, but we just think this may be brought about by the congestion and maybe the poor sanitation that we now experience.
The learners row their way to school to escape the harsh realities of life, albeit for a few hours. An audit by the Elimobora Working Group revealed that 2,077 learners failed to report to school for the second term. Across farms in Nyando, it is a common sight to find children in farms. More often than not, food scarcity arising from displacement and loss of family livelihoods forces even the youngest of children to join their parents in sourcing for food.
Saa zingine tunaweza enda tuna weed shamba ya mtu hata anatulipa shilingi 50, ama saa zingine unaweza enda unachunga ng'ombe za mtu anakupea hata shilingi 20 hivi, hizo ndio mnasanya mnanunua vitu. Ama unaweza enda unaweza tafuta samaki tunashika na hizi nets. Sasa tunajaribu ku struggle hivyo na to move on with life.
Under the government's school feeding program, about 4.5 million learners from arid and semi-arid areas benefit from a hot meal paid for by the government of Kenya. In Kisumu, however, despite the challenges pupils face due to the intermittent flooding, schools here are not eligible for the program.
It is really pitiful. Even we as teachers, as we teach them in class, we see them. You teach, some are sleeping. I appeal to the government to consider Nyamrundu, Ogenya, and even Ombaka, to consider these areas as hardship areas and maybe provide meals to schools to sustain the learners coming to school and learning.
Kenya is yet in another rainy season. More than 1,000 miners in Nyando yet to return home. The scars they bear run deeper than the waters that flooded their homes, which they have been fleeing from every so often.
Napo kwa 6 years tumehama like ilikuwa 5 times. Mvua ikinyesha usiku, huwa nilikuwa na lalanga kama mawe, sijui hata ninafanyika. Lakini nowadays nikisikia tu mlio wa thunder and lightnings, kitu na spark tu kwa mind yangu, yani nashtuka. Hadi usiku sasa silali, sleepless nights tu hivyo. Niko awake hata kama nicheza aje, hiyo siku kusingize itanichukua. Tukue move like boarding, so to spend like time huko na friends nini. Maybe the memory can be wiped away.
Education is the equalizer that makes the children of every citizen from all communities, from all walks of life, coming from all backgrounds, to be equal.
Education is touted as the greatest equalizer. However, for more than 15,000 children in Kenya's flood-prone areas, the words are empty shells. Every day, they struggle with the danger of their dreams drowning as the government that swore to protect them remains mum on their well-being. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV, Kisumu.
Goodness, what a great feature by Laura.